children to have a voice, the new mission of the Children's Advocacy Center this year. Well, I have good news for you. That is going to happen now for the state of Arkansas. Our guest speaker tonight is Erin Merryn. Her law, Erin's law, is going to make this happen for our children in the state of Arkansas. Erin Merryn is the author of Stolen Innocence and Living for Today, and coming in November, An Unimaginable Act, which are all memoirs about incest and rape. Erin earned a master's degree in social work from Aurora University in May of 2009. Erin began a crusade her senior year of high school in 2004 to end the silence and shame around sexual abuse. She puts a bright light and an outspoken voice on the silent epidemic by traveling the country giving inspirational and motivational speeches to thousands. She has made numerous media appearances, including Katie Couric, Oprah, CNN, Good Morning America, among others. She has appeared in People magazine, Time magazine, London Times, Glamour magazine, among others. She was named Glamour magazine Woman of the Year for 2012. People magazine named her a Heroes Among Us. She is the force behind getting her own law passed called Erin's Law, a law she is working diligently to get passed nationally. This law will educate children in public schools on sexual abuse. Erin's mission is to shatter the silence and stigma around sexual abuse and educate children and empower them with their voice. Please join me in welcoming Erin Merryn.
Well, good evening. My name is Erin Merryn, and as you can tell, I don't have that southern accent. So you're probably wondering where I'm from. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Go Chicago. Unlike Haley, there's one thing that I was never afraid of: public speaking. But there was one thing in my life that I wasn't speaking about: a silent epidemic. We live in a society that looks the other way too. It's going on in all of our own backyards. But we live in a society that likes to look the other way, pretend it's not going on, when I guarantee every single one of you in this room knows somebody that has been sexually abused. You may just not know it, because there is so much shame and stigma placed on survivors of sexual abuse. So much shame and stigma that often that 5, 7, 9-year-old that's being sexually abused tonight will keep it a secret until she's in her 30s, 40s, 50s, because she's only getting one message, and that message is from her perpetrator. This is our little secret. No one will believe you. I'll come hurt you. Not getting that other message: speak up, tell somebody this is going on. Well, I'm here tonight to tell you my story of how I am standing on this stage and able to speak out about this silent epidemic. I want you to look at these statistics. 42 million survivors in America alone of sexual abuse. Think about that for a minute. That could fill 46 national football stadiums. And 3 million of those are children. Think of those children for a moment. Filling 46 national football stadiums. It's a sad reality that often nobody is talking about. As I said, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, in a really good home. I was one of 3 girls, solid family, mom, dad. I had foster sisters, good Christian family. I had a lake house that I went to on the weekends. I went into a school district that was ranked one of the best in the state. But you see, there was something going on in my life that I never told anyone about till much later. I went off to kindergarten and soon got into Daisy Scouts, and that's where I met my very best friend. Her name was Ashley. Ashley and I began doing everything together. From birthday parties, she's coming to my house, I'm going to hers. But I noticed something about Ashley's life that was different from mine. You see, Ashley came from a broken home. She never had a dad in the picture. Her mom was a single mom working to make ends meet for her 2 young children. So anytime I was at Ashley's house, her mom was never around. It was always only an uncle that lived in the home. And it was this uncle, whenever I played over there, that was always sleeping. And I never understood why. Here he was supposed to be the caretaker, and we're out playing in their court, playing in the backyards. He never had his eye on us. I would describe him as a very neglectful caretaker. Well, one particular night, my very first sleepover, I was spending the night at Ashley's. Well, I was excited, of course, my parents sending me off, wondering, am I going to be okay being on my own for the first night? Of course, I was all excited. Going over to Ashley's house, she had the big doll house I loved to play with. So when I got to Ashley's house that night, we watched a Disney movie, played with her doll house. She eventually climbed in her bed, and I got in my sleeping bag on the ground. Well, as I'm sitting there sleeping, I'm a very light sleeper, still am to this day, I heard the bedroom door open. Well, I didn't think much of it, but I looked, and I saw her uncle standing there. Well, I assumed that he was just checking to make sure we were both in there asleep, just like my parents had done so many times with my sister and I. But that wasn't the case. He came in, locked the door, and every single one of you knows where this story is going. This man got down to where I was, pulled down my little sleeping bag, and for the very first time in my life, sexually abused me. It happened so quick. I didn't know how to put words to what he had just done. I had never been taught this. So I stayed silent about it when my mother came in to pick me up the next day. I didn't tell her a thing. But the next time Ashley asked me to spend the night, of course, I'm saying no, no way. But I didn't tell my best friend what her uncle had done. I soon was asking her always to sleep over at my house. But I continued to play with Ashley. And that wasn't the end of the abuse with this man. I would go over there and play once again, another overnight, a year later, her begging me to spend the nights. And of course, once again, I did, thinking not much of it. Once again, this man came into the room, brought me now into his bedroom, and sexually abused me. Once again, I'm keeping it a secret, because this man is telling me, I'll come get you if you tell anyone. I know where you live, Erin. Well, he did know where I lived. He had dropped my best friend off at my house numerous times. I could walk to their house. So often I walked up and down that sidewalk or rode my bike to her home. So as I continued to stay silent, the warning signs all began to go up. Something is wrong with this kid. The behavior problems began, started acting out in school, but no one was asking those important questions. So I continued to stay silent. Well, then in first grade, like any other day, Ashley had asked me to come over and play. Well, I had gone over there numerous times because it was safe during the day. Nothing bad ever happened during the day. It was only at night when I spent the night. So this particular day, it's a cold January day, I'm playing with the dollhouse in her bedroom. Ashley gets up to go to the bathroom. Sitting there playing, I heard her come back into the room, and I asked her a question. Well, I couldn't see the door. So when she didn't respond to me, I kind of peeked my head over the door, and standing against that closed door was that uncle of hers. I'll never forget that moment, going from sudden joy to now clutching these Barbie dolls, because I know what this man is about to do. Soon my best friend is at the door thinking I locked her out, and I start screaming for her. She finally knows now something's going on. Little did I know she was keeping the same secrets. As I'm sitting there screaming for my best friend, I'm struggling now on a bed with this man, fighting, kicking, screaming, him putting his hand over my mouth, telling me that if I did not shut up, he was going to tie me to her bed. Imagine this for a moment. Not even 7 years old, weeks shy of my 7th birthday, and this man is doing this to this innocent young child that I was. Well, this man proceeded to pull down my pants and for the very first time, rape me. I can remember that moment as if it happened yesterday. I couldn't tell you what I ate for breakfast yesterday, but I can describe horror that happened more than 21 years ago. From the closet doors being opened, the colored dresses in her closet, from the toys on the floor, to the color shirt this man was wearing, to the evil look that I saw in this man's eyes. I'll never forget thinking that this was the day I was going to die. I honestly thought this man was going to kill me. And just when I thought, as I'm screaming, crying, begging him to get off me, just when I thought that it couldn't get any worse, it did. Just when I thought he was getting up, going to leave the room, instead he got up, he flipped me over, and as you can imagine, sodomized me. I remember this moment because I thought he was killing me. This man left and told me one thing. Erin, if you tell anybody, your parents won't want you anymore. You can't tell anybody what we do. Once again, being brainwashed over and over and over again. I remember running out of that house so fast, my best friend chasing me down her court, begging me to stop, finally stopping me and making me pinky promise her that I would never tell a soul what he had done. Because he told her that if she told anyone, they would lose their home. Their mom would not be able to stay there because he helped support the family. So of course, he had his way of silencing her, his way of silencing me, and who knows how many other victims he had. Well, at 8.5 years old, I find out I'm moving, getting a new start. I was so thrilled because I was going to a new school, in a new neighborhood. I was getting away from this monster I was constantly seeing. And I started off at my new school on a great note. Suddenly, all the behavior problems I had disappeared. Made new friends. But little did I realize that moving was getting me that much closer to the next perpetrator in my life. You see, every year, Officer Friendly came into our classrooms and taught us about stranger danger. Don't go look for the lost puppy. Don't take candy from a stranger. Kick, fight, scream if a stranger takes you. That message was drilled in my head, but the message on the people I loved and trusted, that somebody you knew could do this to you, I was never taught that. So, at 11 years old, my life once again forever changed. All those problems that I had before, from the anger, putting my hand through a window 2 weeks after this man had raped me, all these behavior problems eventually being labeled in the schools, behavior and emotionally disturbed with an IEP, getting all these extra services because of all my behavior problems. When I moved and met new friends, I wouldn't spend the night at their houses because I feared what their fathers, stepfathers, older brothers might do. My parents always questioned, you're this homebody and your sisters are social butterflies. You never want to stay with your friends. But you see, they didn't know what was really going on behind closed doors. And the warning signs were there. They were all there, the red flags. But there was also all the secrets that I was keeping. As I said, the only message, this is our secret, Erin. No one will believe you. You will destroy this family. And the reason I was being told this will destroy this family, because at age 11, I woke up to an older teenage cousin sexually abusing me. Wake up in the middle of the night to his hands down my pants, freaking out, thinking this is a really bad nightmare. This is not really going on. And I tried convincing myself the next morning after I finally fell back asleep. This has to do with when I was little. I dreamt this all. This didn't happen. But I feared to look into my cousin's eyes. Feared that if I made eye contact with him, it would soon make me realize that this wasn't some bad dream, that this really did happen. Well, several months would go by, learned how to push it down, repress it. When my aunt started asking me, now at age 12, end of 5th grade, Erin, could you come watch your little brothers? Well, Brian was the perpetrator, and it was his younger brothers. You see, they lived just down the street from us. In order for me to get to my elementary school every day, I had to pass my aunt and uncle's house. She began stopping and asking me, will you watch your little cousins? I'm going to the grocery store. I'm getting my nails done. I have to do this, do that. Well, she knew how much I love little kids, just adored them. So I was always excited to be around my little cousins. But this one particular day, I'm playing hide and go seek with this little 3-year-old and 6-year-old. when suddenly that cousin Brian comes home. Erin, I got the perfect hiding place for you. Of course, I followed him down into the basement. Soon he's putting me under blankets and telling me to hide there. The next thing I know, he's crawling under those blankets and is once again on top of me, sexually abusing me. You see, the abuse with my cousin would continue. Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthday parties, other family gatherings where we all came together. You see, we come from a very large family. My father's one of 7. So at Christmas time, Thanksgiving, anytime birthday celebration, a graduation party, there was always a ton of little cousins, aunts, uncles. The place was always filled. And because there were so many family members, we were constantly seeing each other. It wasn't like a lot of families where they see each other maybe twice a year. And in each of these situations, my cousin always found a way to get me locked behind closed doors in some bathroom, basement, closet, garage, family room, you name it. If he found a way to get me locked up, he would sexually abuse me and always tell me the same thing. Erin, this is our little secret. You can't tell anybody. No one will believe you. Erin, you have no proof I'm doing this to you. Erin, you will destroy our close-knit family if you tell anybody what I have done. So I continue to keep it a secret. And that secret I kept locked away in my little childhood diary. A diary once filled with lemonade stands, birthday parties, things that were going on in school. Soon I was filling with horror of the things my cousin had done to me, time after time after time. Talking about these horrible things that I felt like I couldn't tell anybody else. Soon I'm hiding this under my mattress, one night after another, till I began lying to my aunt because anytime she asked me to babysit, who'd come home? That cousin of mine. So I began lying to her, telling her I couldn't babysit. So she began asking my younger sister if she'd watched her little cousins while she ran to the store, ran here. Well, one night, my aunt called me on a Friday out of desperation. Erin, my other babysitter canceled. Can you please come and babysit? Your uncle and I have plans in the city. We have to be there. We're not going to be home till 1 in the morning. Well, I immediately say, why don't you ask your 2 older sons? One that's my age, one that's a few years older than me, the perpetrator. She said, they're both have hockey games and are staying the night at friend's house. So I said, okay, I'll come, because I knew I'd be safe.